Hello, já jsem Broňa, nadšený učitel angličtiny z Brna, který pomáhá lidem zamilovat se do angličtiny. No teď vás nadšeně vítám na začátku dalšího, jestli se nepletu, již 22. dílu BroňaCastu, tedy podcastu o angličtině od Broně. A dneska mám velikou radost, protože v tomhle podcastu na vás čekám já. To vás asi nepřekvapí, možná by bylo někdy zajímavé udělat ho beze mě, ale hlavně můj kamarád Dan. A Dan je pravý Londoner, tedy obyvatel Londýna, a v tomhle rozhovoru, pochopitelně v angličtině, se s námi podělí o své tipy a rady, jak znít víc cool, a jak znít jako rodilý mluvčí a zároveň jak znít víc cool pro rodilé mluvčí, co byste měli určitě navštívit v Londýně, kromě těch věcí, které vám doporučí všechny průvodce. Taky, a to mi přišlo super, jak zlepšit schopnost porozumět skutečně mluvené angličtině, co dělat s tím, když prostě slyšíte jenom dog, tak jak vylepšit tohle porozumění. Taky nám prozradí, jaké věci si on nebo lidi v Londýně typicky spojují s Českou republikou, to mi přišlo zajímavé a vlastně docela vtipné. A proč se rozhodl žít na lodi, protože jedna z fakt zajímavých věcí o Danovi je, že on bydlí na houseboatu a různě se pohybuje po Londýně a nejen po Londýně. Dan je vážně super sympatiák, my jsme se potkali na takovém dlouhodobém kurzu pro učitele loni v létě a moc jsme si rozuměli, tak mám velikou radost, že si Dan našel čas na tenhle rozhovor. Doufám, že si ho užijete stejně jako já a ještě bych chtěl říct jednu důležitou věc. Dan začal YouTube kanál, kde skvěle vysvětluje různé věci spojené s angličtinou. Je to úplně zase jiný styl, než mám třeba já. A je fakt sympatický, já zatím mám málo odběratelů, protože začíná, tak kdybyste se chtěli přihlásit k odběru, tak já zkusím hodit link na ten jeho YouTube kanál do popisku tohohle videa, kdyby to náhodou nešlo, tak když nejdete na můj YouTube kanál, který najdete jednoduše, když napíšete prostě Broňa YouTube, tak tam bude video s Danem, taky kdybyste chtěli vidět, jak Dan vypadá, tam je ten link, tak když se přihlásíte k odběru, tak Dan bude mít velikou radost. No a já samozřejmě taky. A teď už dost úvodu jsem chtěl říct, ale ještě poslední věc. Nahrávali jsme to přes internet, takže ta zvuková kvalita není vždycky úplně nejlepší, ale teď se s Danem bohužel nemůžeme navštívit, tak za to se omlouvám předem. A teď už konečně pojďme na ten slibovaný rozhovor.
Okay. So, hello.
Hello.
I'm really, yeah, I'm happy to see you after how long?
Oh my God. I think it was over a year ago now that we saw each other in person.
Really? I felt like 3 months, but anyway, we know each other really well because, we studied together in London to be better teachers, but most people, I guess, they don't know you, that they are looking at us now. So imagine we meet at a party, I say, hello, and you say, hello, and how would you introduce yourself? I say, what do you do?
Well, actually, at a party, normally the first thing I would do is I just say, hey, my name's Dan, how's it going? And I'd stick out my hand like this, I'd offer my hand.
Okay, hello.
Like that, right?
And I say, nice to meet you. And I say, what do you do?
What do you do? I'd say, well, I'm an English teacher. But these days, I make online videos for English language learners all over the world. But the main thing that I would ask, the first question I always love to ask at a party is, so, who do you know here? Because then you can find out who you know in common. It's like the perfect icebreaker.
Thank you. It's a good one.
Often the person you ask, they don't know anyone. So then you have something in common.
Excellent. Thank you. And, we met in London, but of course for me it was just a trip. But you live in London. So what do you like about London? Or actually, do you like living in London?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there are some days when I'm like, I'm fed up with London. It's too busy. It's too hectic. But London is really diverse. So it's so different in each part of London. So today I'm at my brother's house. This isn't the boat behind me, it's my brother's house. And he lives in an area that has a real Turkish influence. So there's lots of Turkish restaurants, Turkish supermarkets. Good. But if you go around the corner, it's completely different. So that's one of the great things I love about London. If you like food, you can have different cuisine every night of the week if you can afford it.
Yeah, that's what I love about London too. But quite a lot of people fly to see London from the Czech Republic. Now it's difficult, but generally speaking, it's easy and cheap. What places would you recommend to visit? And I mean, I'll recommend visiting, especially the ones that, not like, Buckingham Palace, but something that is not always the top 10 list in every book.
Sure. Okay, so for me, I would recommend you do a canal walk in London.
Oh.
So the canals go through all of central London, from North London down to the centre and then out in the west. And it's really peaceful. It's really beautiful. And it's a break from the hectic pace of the city of London, really. And you can see a different side of London. You can see the boats. You can see the people who live on the boats. It's something a lot of people don't do when they visit London. So that's what I'd recommend.
I did, and I really enjoyed that. Yes, but just for the people, that they say now, oh, I would love to do it. What you should Google, or how can I start? Because if you just Google channel walk or, any starting point. Or...
You can walk for a long way. Google the Grand Union Canal, London.
Grand Union Canal.
And you can start the canal journey at Camden Town. And Camden Town is a great place. It's really alternative, really different.
And a lot of great food.
Yeah. As you can tell, I like eating, so.
Yes, good. Thank you. And, that gets us to my next question, because I think it's super exciting, because you live on a boat. Can you tell us a little about it? And a lot of people ask why and how does it feel? Is it, how different is it, like your life from normal life, or just tell us anything about it?
Well, I decided to live on the boat because I've always been interested in canal boats, and particularly the people who live on the canal boats. And when I came back from living abroad, I missed the excitement of living in another country, and I missed the adventure. So I decided to quit living in a flat and move on to a canal boat, and then move around London and also around the southeast of England. So it's definitely interesting, definitely exciting, but it is hard work. Ron, it is hard work.
So do you regret sometimes? Especially at the beginning, how did you feel? Didn't you say after 2 weeks, like, I'm crazy, what a mistake I have done? Or...
I don't know about regret. Some days I say I don't have time to do this. It's time consuming. You have to move it, you have to fix it when it breaks. You have to fill it up with water. But, at this time of year, it's really beautiful in the morning. So when I wake up and I look out of the window and I think, I'm glad I live on a boat.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
And now we'll move a little to English section. Okay. Daniela.
Okay.
Hello, Daniela. She had a really good question. How much different is your English when you speak in your YouTube channel? Because you've got a great YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it, you should definitely. I put the link below.
Thank you.
And people said, and not only Daniela, that you speak in a such nice way, and it's easy to understand everything. How much do you modify the way you speak in the video now with me and your normal, speaking to your brother English?
Oh, okay. This is such a good question. Now, I try my best to speak as naturally as possible, because I know from teaching students who come to England that they are shocked when they arrive in the UK because of, how quickly people speak in conversation. So I try to give videos that are natural but clear. So I don't slow it right down, speak really slowly. I try and speak at a natural speed, but say my words clearly. So it's a work in progress, Speaking, I have to say, speaking to camera is very difficult, and it's hard to do naturally at first. So it's something I'm working on.
Okay. But for example, the answer you have just given to me, would it be the same style of English you would say to your, let's say, brother or friend in London, or were you still kind of thinking to make it clear?
It depends. For example, if I'm in the pub and I'm sitting having a few drinks with my friends, I'm like to be speaking even faster.
Can you give us a little example? It would be really nice to hear, the real...
No, you're making me sound like I don't speak naturally. Maybe I'd speak like this if we were chatting in the pub, talking about current events. So maybe a bit faster. But I try, my whole channel is about natural English that I actually use. So often in the textbooks, the English is not very realistic. You know this, Bron, from being in London, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give examples of the English that I use and that I would use in conversation. So that's my main aim, and being natural is important to me.
I think it's very useful. And the question connected with that is that people quite often feel they understand the textbook English. It's so clear. It's like, I have a nice day. And then suddenly they hear a native speakers and all they hear is like, oh, like a dog, oh, are nice. And they can't actually say where it's like one river flowing towards you and you don't know what to do.
Like a river.
Any tips? How to improve the listening skills, the ability to recognize what people say actually in real life.
Yeah. Well, that English people speak like that because it's easier to say the words. It's kind of lazy, really. So it all flows into one, Some words we join together, some words we barely say, some sounds that we lose. For example, I might say, you should have told me about the party. Mm-hmm. Or I could say, you should have told me about the party. So there's your example. The second one is more natural. So this is called connected speech, right? And it's something that your learners can study. In the same way they study grammar, there are rules to connected speech. There are the words that we say very quietly and we swallow them. And then there are the words that we really pronounce and are really clear. So I would suggest, looking online for courses in connected speech. There's some great lessons out there. And of course, Ron, me and you, we know all about connected speech.
Well, you do definitely more than I.
It's something you need to study in the same way that you would study grammar, and think of it as a skill you are developing to be able to catch the words as they're being said. I would also recommend listening to authentic text, right? So the radio in the UK, London radio stations, soaps on TV, all of those things are a really good way to hear that sort of natural spoken English, the river of sound, and to get practicing.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think for what is difficult for a lot of people is the idea that you work on something that looks like your pronunciation to improve your listening skills. So, when sometimes people ask and I say work on the connected speech, usually it looks like you're improving your own pronunciation and they don't see the listening in that, but it really is interconnected.
Sure, it's all connected, and I think something, we worked on this a lot in London is how to teach that hearing, the connected speech, and it's something that a lot of people haven't been taught before, and it's something that I want to really focus on in my channel, so hopefully I'm going to make a few videos on that particular topic.
We are looking forward to it. The next question is, it's nice. It's from Bohdana, my friend. She would like to know if there are some phrases, then when she or anybody else uses it, you feel like, it somehow like melts your heart, or, you say, and then you're more willing to forget other mistakes. Are there any things that you're kind of super pleased to hear from not native speakers?
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a really difficult question to answer. I spent a lot of time thinking about this last night. People in London are very accepting of foreigners because, London is a multicultural city. So, I think people in London they'll let you get away with mistakes you make in your English. But one thing that's very important in the UK is politeness and saying please and thank you. And actually something I say all the time that sounds really simple is cheers. So, I would say cheers to you if we're having a drink. Cheers like this. But I also say it to mean thank you. And I say it to everyone. So when I get off the bus, I say cheers. When I'm in the shop, I say cheers. When I'm leaving the pub, I say cheers. It's something you should try to say because it's informal, it's natural, and it's polite.
Fantastic.
So I hope that answers your question. That was a difficult one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The next question that people wanted to know, they asked me to ask you if there are any commonly used slang phrases or something that, you don't find it in the textbook, but people would say it normally on the street and you can be maybe confused if you don't know that.
Oh, okay. Yes, I got some really good examples. My first one is bloke. So a bloke is another word for a man. Okay, so Ron, you are a bloke. And you're a good guy, right? A nice guy. You've got a good heart. So I would say a decent bloke.
A decent bloke. Thank you. I like being called that.
If someone said, what's Ron like? I'd say, he's a decent bloke.
So that's
Thank you.
slang. So you're a decent bloke, Bron.
Thanks a lot.
The other one I would say is gutted. This means disappointed. So when something doesn't go my way, when something goes wrong, I say, I'm gutted. Or if you want to make that stronger, I'm absolutely gutted. So, if I lose my wallet...
It's originally this part of our bodies to try?
Yeah, that's right. The gut is that bit down here. Yeah, so gutted, yeah. Like someone's, it hurts here that you're so disappointed.
Good. Thanks a lot.
And one more, yeah. So the other one is mate, which means friend or buddy.
And can it be also a girl or it's only a boy?
It's actually really just blokes. Yeah, it's blokes. Yeah. But I say it with cheers, so I say cheers, mate. Cheers, mate.
So what's the difference between bloke and mate? I mean, do you feel some kind of difference in meaning?
Yeah, so mate refers to, it's like friend. It's like saying cheers, friend. Bloke simply means man.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And is there anything for girls, like an equivalent for ladies?
There is, hun, cheers, hun, or cheers, darling. That's very like London English. Cheers, darling.
So this darling isn't really cheesy thing, because in Czech, when we would say this, it sounds like I'm trying to be too sweet. So it doesn't have this connotation.
That's the thing. Be a bit careful with that. But most blokes like to be called mate. You must have heard me say it wrong, because I say it every other word. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate.
Good. Thanks a lot. There was a specific question. If you know any book that is not simplified book, like book for, English people published like for local, but it's at the level, let's say, if you're B2 level, you can read it. Because sometimes, I started reading English books with Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings wasn't the good choice. I mean, it's a beautiful book, but it's really, at least it was for me, difficult to digest because the language is so rich and complex. So is there anything that you would recommend for reading?
Okay, so I'm not going to be boring and say Harry Potter, but Harry Potter is great because it's written for kids and adults. So actually the language is not too complex. But as I said, I'm not going to say Harry Potter. I'm going to recommend you a book called, let me get the name right, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
Oh, I love it. I have read it twice. It's fantastic. Yeah, and I agree.
It's great. Yeah, so the author is Mark Haddon. And so just to tell everyone, it's actually a murder mystery story, but it's through the perspective, so through the eyes and the brain of a 15-year-old boy who has learning disabilities. So he sees the world in a very interesting way. And again, it's a book that's written for kids and adults, and we can enjoy it. We can both enjoy it, So I read this book and I loved it, and I think it will be great for everyone listening. I'm going to read it again.
I couldn't agree more. Yes, it's really cool. Okay, thanks a lot. That's a great tip. The next question I got is, what kind of mistakes would you say are the top mistakes you hear the most often, from your students or when you speak with non-native speakers? What would you say is like the top thing?
All right. So, I hear a lot of grammar mistakes to do with verb form. So I have watched the Harry Potter films. It should be, I have seen the Harry Potter films, or I am believing you should be, I believe you. I hear those a lot, and I hear people missing articles. So my boss is great person. Should be, my boss is a great person. But the mistakes that I notice the most are mistakes of collocation. So words that don't really go together. So one of my students yesterday said to me, I have a big knowledge of classic cars. He really loves cars. And, I thought, big knowledge? I understand you. It's not what I would say. So I said, we would say great knowledge or a vast knowledge of classic cars. And actually, it's those kind of mistakes that make the difference between being beginner or intermediate and being advanced, fluent, and natural. Another example is one of my students said, can you give me a favor? which should be, can you do me a favor? So the mistake sounds really big to my ears. So these are the mistakes that I notice the most. Not so much grammar, more vocabulary.
Okay, thanks a lot. And what can we do? I mean, let's say the people of the Czech Republic that will probably watch it, to sound better to your ears. Like, is there any like easy fix so we sound a little bit better, or cooler?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, just looking for my answer now.
So maybe I just say because I'm a nice bloke, decent bloke. I sent some of the questions to Dan the night before, so he's super ready for us. So maybe to explain where he is looking.
So I would think the best way to sound natural, which is what everyone wants to do is sound natural when speaking, is to really focus on vocabulary and building up a collection of expressions and phrases that native speakers are using. A lot of courses are really focused on grammar, and grammar is important. Yes, it's really important. But there are so many good natural expressions that you can pick up through reading like authentic text. So books like the one I mentioned, also newspapers, magazines, blogs, all of those things are important. Like, just to give you an example, you could say, when talking about happiness, I feel happy. But you could say, I'm feeling tip-top. I'm feeling over the moon. I'm feeling on cloud 9. Start to note these down in your notebook and try and build those expressions. That's my tip.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. And a question connected with that. Can you give me any tip what I can improve about my English? I mean, you're very polite and you will say something like, yeah, it's good. But can we skip this part and say, Bron, work on this, or this is something, you can do to be better?
Oh, it's about you. Oh, okay.
Just one super small thing, so.
Yeah, I would say, I hate to go back to that last point that I just made. So work on the natural expressions, so slang and the informal expressions, because you learn a lot more of those formal expressions in the textbooks and in the lessons. But it's about exposure, like surrounding yourself with real English. Mm-hmm. Okay, so forget about the textbook, put it aside. Don't worry about understanding every word though, because what's more important is exposure to different types of text. That would be my tip.
I have last 2 questions, but before them I have one I've just discovered I would like to ask. Is it, do you still accept private students? If somebody feels like, oh, he's such a decent bloke, I really love him. I know that, the YouTube channel is open for everybody, but if somebody would like to have like private lessons with you, are you open to that?
I do. Yeah, I do. Actually, I've been teaching, with the whole coronavirus and, the way that things are moving online. I do a lot of teaching one-to-one, a bit like this on Zoom, actually. I've been doing that since I moved back from abroad. So I love teaching people like that, and it is a great way to, practice.
So we put some contact below, and if somebody is interested, they can get in touch.
Check out the website. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
And last but one question, what do you associate you, or generally speaking people in London or your friends with the Czech Republic? When you hear the Czech Republic, what is the thing in your head, the association of thing,
Okay, so everyone knows that Prague is a beautiful city, like a really picturesque city. So I think it's on a lot of people's go-to list, when we can travel again. A lot of people I know really want to go to Prague. Also, it's going to sound very British, there is Czech beer. So we know that the Czech Republic has amazing beer, and also footballers as well. So I remember, I don't know, do you like football, Bron?
Yes, I do.
You do. So Karel Poborský?
Yeah, but in Czech we would say Karel Poborský.
Karel Poborský, okay, that's better. So I remember him, he played for Man United, and Peter Cech as well. I think he's Chelsea or Arsenal.
Yeah.
So that's what most Brits will think when you say Czech Republic. It sounds very British, football and beer.
No, it's cool. I like it. I mean, we like football and beer as well. I mean, I speak generally speaking,
Perfect.
of course. Good. And my last question is, imagine you could, for free, put something on the billboards all around London or maybe all around the whole UK. What would you put on the billboards and why? That's my last question.
This is such a difficult question. For me, at the moment, it's something that annoys me. It's people throwing their masks on the ground. You can see it all over London. So I would say, please put your masks in the bin. I hope that's not a boring answer.
No, it's lovely. I expected something like, love each other or, be positive. And you say, throw your mask into the bin. I love it. It's very original.
I hate littering. It annoys me. So, yeah, it was such a difficult one. I thought of saying about love each other, but then I was like,
no, this is the top. Okay, thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you. I will put a link to your channel down. It's fantastic. Please check it. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, definitely, Bron. Okay, lovely. I hope to see you in person again one day.
Yes, hopefully.
Face to face.